Good evening. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross here with you on a Tuesday, as we are each week. In somber mood this week, Adam. We got some horrible news Sunday morning, and we lost Noel Teal. So heartbreaking, man. Quick thoughts before we jump into some thoughts on Noel.
Yeah, Clint, we talk about this in racing. We're one big family, and we all have family members that we see more than others, and there's people we gravitate to. But when we grieve, we grieve as a group. It's just so sad. I don't want to make belittle anything, but I remember a time when you would get to the start of a racing season before there was social media, and it would take time, Clinton, to talk about what had happened in the off season, and there was all quite often a story of someone who wasn't going to be there that season, right? Because something had happened. Now we're so connected so instantly that that hit me fairly significantly seeing that news, and it's so sad. Uh, Not only to lose a member of our family, but to lose someone that was so young and full of life. Yeah, it's tragic. You hug your kids, you hug your loved ones, and my heart goes out to the family.
So for those of you who don't know, young Noel Teal was 20 years old. She was a crate sprint car racer on the Action Sprint Tour. Grew up racing micro sprints at Little Middleton and in Tilsonburg, Chatham, and then on Thursday nights with us at Oshweekend at our small track. Graduated up. Her and her sister Kiana have been racing with us for a while. The family's been around and helping crews. Most recently, part of the GSR team and pretty much friends with everybody in the pits. Noelle was a gorgeous young lady. She was going off to school in Kelowna and loved speed, loved to race, loved her motorcycle, and was involved in an accident Saturday that claimed her life out west. And let's look at a few moments of Noel Teal. As someone put it, well, as a parent, I don't know what to say after that. I think
That's
I saw it best. I think it was Davey Boughton who wrote it. The sprint car world lost its smile, which was a great way to put it. My memory of Noel is going to be walking barefoot through the pits. If we have to laugh about anything, uh, all summer long, no shoes, walking over the rocks. I said, "How do you do it?" I'm like the princess in the pea. One little thing in my shoe, I'm freaking out. But wow, just a great soul, great smile, and truly going to be missed. Uh, you know, we've reached out to the family. I've let Chris know if there's anything they need help with. By all means, don't struggle or suffer. You have so much love and so much family who would do anything for you at this time. So, um, I see they took her car to the Pumpkin Show in their hometown,
Pumpkin
which was her
Fest
last,
in Waterford.
which
Yeah,
was her last wish. And I woke up Sunday. I was like, wow, this is a dream, and to have to share it out to the Action Sprint Tour group. I mean, she raced every season, and just real tough. So we'll bring you more news as we have it. No funeral arrangements have been brought to our attention yet, but you can bet it'll be widely shared and well attended. And to the Teal family, our heart go out to you. If there's anything you need, as we said, reach out to us in confidence, and we'll make sure you get all the help you need.
absolutely. And there were some beautiful tributes, Clint, all over the internet, and there's just an energy about Noel, and I did not know Noel very well, and almost because I had no business talking to her. You know what I mean, Clinton? just that energy around the pits of positivity and smiles, and she did her thing. But it's a tragic loss, and as you say, as a parent of someone who is right around that age, uh, I can't imagine what Chris and the family are going through.
Yeah. I think about. I think my brother said it best. Kiana is gonna have to grow up without her big sister now, and that's a big thing to think about too. So much, but um, you're right. It's it seems like every year. I mean, it wasn't that long ago we lost the Nye boy there, Aiden, and just
I,
tough.
I, let me tell you
Or
how
Adam Nye.
challenging it is. Right, there's Adam and Aiden Nye, and having to second guess myself every time we would talk about. I still couldn't tell you with 100% certainty which Nye is still with us and which is not, and that's terrible. It's embarrassing, but you know what I mean, Clint. It's one of those things that messes with my mind.
I also saw 11 years ago we lost Abel Castelline. Came out this week too, and someone I think it's Twitch it reshared it, and crazy. So hug your loved ones. Get those autographs from your favorite racers as you can, because it's we're not long for this world some days. Let's move on to some more wilder news and all kinds of stuff. Doug Lam's going to be joining us here just to talk about some of the situations going on and how crazy it is to be a race director at different times. Doug made us all proud most recently, for those of us who know him, by running one of the biggest shows on dirt at Oswego Super Dirt Week, which is a monumental task in trying to coordinate all the cars in and out, never mind trying to stay on schedule, fight the weather, track prep, a special events crew. It's a lot to get through, and they do a fantastic job doing it. We're also going to touch upon the Bubba Wallace suspension that came out and that whole situation. We'll look at the Port Royal Speed Showcase and the dominant performance in month that Matt Shepard has had recently, and just been cleaning up. There's a lot of talk about that, and it's a very polarizing kind of situation, or everybody seems to pick a side in the situation between whether you're either a Matt Shepard or Stuart Friesen fan or a hater of one or the other. So we'll bring that up. Cooking in the pits, we got some funny videos we're going to look at. And there was also a wild crash at the Salem 200 most recently on the weekend. So all those things we're going to discuss. Where would you like to start, Adam?
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay. Bubba Wallace
I
getting
don't know what.
suspended.
Yeah. So what's the skinny there? Let's what did NASCAR come out and say? And I'm a little
Well,
behind.
we do have some video, so roll the video if we've got it, Spencer. Let's see what we've got to see. For anybody who missed the race yesterday, or on Sunday, I should say, uh, in my opinion, Larson crowded him. Throw the audio up if you got it too. Larson there pulls down 3 wide. They split a lap car, and that's Bubba Wallace on the outside. Now you make the call here.
Bubba just feels like that the 5 didn't give him much room as he would have liked to come off of that corner.
So there's a couple parts to it. They're close racing. Larson was definitely at his door. But my whole problem with this, the first part of it, like we talk about the retaliation, which is dirty ass racing, no matter how you're going to kill somebody doing that. We talk about how dirty that is. But even if it was warranted, which in my opinion it's not, you look at the trajectory that they go into the corner at him. Bubba already had that angle going in, and Larson just filled it. We just talked about Shepard and Stewart, who we watch on the dirt. I mean, I've watched both those guys make a career of watching a rookie step out to a lane that he shouldn't be in, and they fill it and just say, well, you took that line. You got to live with it now. So, is it Larson's job to give him room?
No, but my problem is this. Larson left him a car width. Larson did not run Bubba Wallace into the wall. Bubba Wallace drove into the wall.
That's what I'm saying.
So nobody has squeezed you into the wall until they've made contact with you and you've made contact with the wall. If you hit the wall first and then hit the other car, you hit the wall. If the other car hits you and then you hit the wall, they put you there. So it's so many things happening at the same time. The retaliation, to me, hard to prove. right? Because all he did was not lift. Who knows what the
Whoa,
steering
whoa,
was
whoa,
doing in
whoa,
the
whoa.
car. In my heart, I believe he turned him. Nah, you can't say it. You can't say with
Damn
certainty
right I can
that's
say
what
it.
happened.
And Doug Leonard, our first guest who's going to come on here, he better freaking say it too. That was
Have a look at
retaliation
it.
the whole way.
That car didn't turn. He didn't lift, but it never steered. He was pointed towards Larson, kept his foot in the throttle, never turned left or right. So it's almost, you could believe if he said he didn't have steering. I choose not to, Clinton, but as an announcer, I would be careful how I said that. But he did have the opportunity to lift, which makes it completely intentional and so dangerous. So dangerous to turn a driver. Watch the trajectory of his car. It doesn't turn. It's going down the track at the same angle that if the
I
steering
can
was
give you that a
broke.
little bit, but my argument is when you bounce off the track and your instant thought is retaliation and you're already pointed at the perfect angle to retaliate, you don't have to steer. You just put your foot in the gas and turn.
Right. And the fact that he stayed in the gas is a huge problem. I do not like the notion of turning someone so they hit driver's side in the wall. Just like Davey Allison and Kyle Petty, 30 years ago at Charlotte. Just ugly, ugly impact when that sort of shit happens.
I think
So
even
then
closer to home, Shea Gamble at Delaware last year in the Pinty's race. It was just bad spot.
yeah, totally.
Let's bring Doug on,
But
Spencer. Keep going, Adam.
so the issue I have, so on the track, total dick move. Then off the track, I thought Kyle Larson handled himself amazingly when someone comes at him to get physical, and Kyle doesn't want to get physical back, but at the same time, he kept his chin right up. Like he was not going to cower from Bubba Wallace. Have a look at this. He does not want to engage, but he's not going to shy away from someone and be intimidated. Check this out. See that? He's still chin right up and sort of looking like, what the hell's wrong with you? Gives him a bit of a push, but even to the end, never once cowered. It's like, come on, bring it. I got a huge problem with that for Bubba doing it because you know what? They were going to be together in the infield care center within 5 minutes. Just wait and punch him in the mouth. Like, why are you putting on a spectacle? And then the worst part of the whole deal was his interview afterwards. It is embarrassing to me and shocking that someone with so much. Kyle Larson came out of that infield care center, knew exactly what to say, how to say it, because he's a Hendrick Motorsports driver. And I'm not a huge Hendrick fan. I've always liked underdogs. But Kyle Larson knew exactly what to say. He said it, and he moved on. Bubba Wallace stumbled over his words. He was unprepared. Clearly, he was not instructed what to do. That's what PR people are for. That's what team owners are for. That's what mentors are for. No excuse for him to come out of that infield care center and look like a babbling tool.
What do you say, Doug, about the whole situation? First off, does Larson owe him any more room? It wasn't retaliation. And anything else you want to add to it?
I don't think he owes him more room. I mean, as much as it pains me to say this, I have to admit I might be siding with Adam here a little bit.
It happens.
I mean, I hear his comments he says on Friday nights about me. So, no, I mean, there's nothing in the rule book that states that what he did coming off that corner is illegal. Did he crowd him? 100%. I mean, if without video replay, that initial call would have been, yeah, you know what? Bubba Wallace went after him. But the more and more you watch it, you can't prove that he did go after him after the incident, or was the steering broke, as he said in his interview, and that's the trajectory. He was taken down the racetrack and accidentally took out the 5. You just can't prove it.
So, Doug, how much harder? Because you've had to go through this. And yeah, I talk a lot about calls. You just happen to be the person making the calls. But we also give you a lot of credit because you are usually right. Like most times you get it right. How hard is it? Because when you became a race director, we didn't have all this social media, and we didn't have 10 angles and replays of every incident. So how much harder is it today to do your job and not second guess yourself, like, and not succumb to some of the pressure that you get online?
I don't know if it's harder. You're going to get critiqued more. It actually helps. I mean, if I can utilize it at the time, I mean, hopefully I can make the call right. If you mess it up, I mean, you have a chance to go rewatch it, learn from it. But my job is just an opinion. That's all it is, and it's my opinion, and it's my interpretation of the rule book. And at times, a lot of people just don't agree with you. Watched an example last night, that Maple Leafs game, the tying goal. I mean, was it the right call or the wrong call? It's an opinion. I mean, the referees called it as it is in the book. But, I mean, you can see some gray area or somewhere where they're going to have to go back in the offseason and maybe relook at that rule. But that's what video replay opens up the discussion.
I'd say, Doug, knowing how you operate, that it's probably more of a blessing than it hurts, because if you try to do a good job first off, and you are right most of the time, so that makes it a bit easier. It would be very troublesome if you were a shitty official and making terrible calls every week and you have your mistakes pointed out. But we've got a fairly clean show everywhere we run things lately, whether it be on the tour, at home, or anything you got your hands into. I think it helps you, because a lot of times you're harder on yourself than the racers are. You second guess yourself, and then you can go back and at least be like, all right, I feel good about what we did in that situation, because it's right there and we can watch it back, whether it be moments later or at the end of the night. I mean, you and I have gone through all the realms where it's been 2 days later, 2 seconds later, or I'll phone you from the infield and go, Doug, like, go back 10 seconds and look at that again. But the 2 times I thought I did that this year, I was totally wrong, and then I just backed out and let you do your thing all season long. Like,
Right.
I was totally wrong both times, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and let him do his thing.
We had a couple instances this year. I mean, and I got the opportunity to go sit down at work on Saturday morning and fired up and be like, okay, 100%. I mean, I utilized it a couple weeks ago at Super Dirt Week. I mean, I had the luxury of having Megan Hazel, who spearheads the production of Dirt Vision, sitting beside me, and she's in contact with the truck, and I'm like, do we have a replay? And she's like, hang on. And 3 seconds later, she'd tap me on the arm and be like, we got it. I just turn around, I'd watch the replay on the TV and be like, okay, I was right, I was wrong, I need to adjust it, whatever. Or she'd tell me, hey, we missed it, we don't have it. So okay, we just carry on with the call, and right or wrong, I got to live with it.
There's one more thing about this interaction that I didn't like. And Spencer, if you can cue up the part where Bubba approaches Kyle Larson. I'm a huge advocate of letting 2 willing participants go at it on the racetrack, because you don't need to put your officials into a dangerous situation. But the second one of the drivers clearly does not want to engage, it is up to safety personnel to get between them. Like, Kyle Larson clearly wanted nothing to do with that. Someone's got to protect that driver. And it's not necessarily these safety workers. It's that,
just saying,
it's that
come over.
Right. So the safety workers are not the ones to do it. It's that person with the official fire suit on that's there to do it.
I hate that to say this, Adam, but you're actually wrong. I do love saying it. I have a good friend that's part of the AMR team that does a majority of the NASCAR races. He was not at Vegas last week, but I texted him yesterday and said, hey, what's the deal on that? And he tells me they are actually instructed that they cannot get involved. They can step in, but they cannot separate on it. And if you watch that AMR official, he actually does step back. And I believe that's part of the suspension that came in. I saw on Twitter today that they say that Bubba Wallace had assault of an official. I mean, because he put his hand on him, and whether he just pushed him out of the way, but
and though there's the safety,
they're not to get in between. You see, he just escorts them out, but he is not trying to. I mean,
I think the official
physically restrain him,
and he pushes the official. I think right here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to. It doesn't matter who you are. You got to follow your directives, right? How many penalties have been given out, not for the initial issue on a racetrack, but for not following the directive given by the race director to do what you're supposed to be doing, and that's the position Bubba's in right there. Do what you're told, because the rules are all there for a reason, or pay the price. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
just a fascinating.
I had one at the satellite show at Weed Sport. I instructed a race car driver not to do something. He did it anyways. I gave him another warning, and he did it. And the third time he went to go do it, I said, "That's it. You're parked." I mean, so it was a heated discussion with Dad because the child was under. I mean, the driver, I guess, was under 18 years old, but it was a half an hour discussion at the series trailer, the command center, discussing the matter. I mean, again, it comes down to opinions, and his opinion and my opinion differed. But at the end of the day, we saw eye to eye and agreed and shook hands and carried on.
Doug, let's talk about what it's like to run Dirt Week. You've got so much going on there. How crazy is it from the town?
It's as I said to people, it's like a swan on top of the water. That swan is beautiful and it's white and it's big and it looks amazing. Underwater, that thing is swimming like crazy. It is truly organized chaos, but at the end of the day, when we leave on Sunday and you pulled it all off, it worked out well. I mean, we've got a great team. I had the luxury of being up in the tower this week. I had Megan, like I said, Megan Hazel beside me, and Eric Grigsby, who's the World Outlaw late model race director. He was in charge of timing and scoring. Dean Reynolds stepped up and worked from down below for majority of the week in replacement of Mark Hitchcock, or to help him out. Tech team did an amazing thing. So everybody worked well together. It's a great staff that Dean puts together with the assistance of myself, and we just knocked out of the park. That turn 2 gate was amazing for us. We call it the Australian gate. We had the turn 4 gate, which is the Canadian gate, and the turn 3 gate, which is the US gate, and the Australian gate, all functioning all at the same time. So at one point we had 3 gates open with people coming in and people going out. So we were ahead of schedule all week. I mean, even with weather on Friday, we actually bombed right through everything ahead of schedule, never got behind. So it was good.
Is that any better, Spencer? I'm not sure.
That sounds better.
My question for Doug is, we had this discussion last week. Was there ever any consideration, because everybody kind of lives on the backstretch, to shift the whole thing to the backstretch? Has that ever come up in any of the discussions, Doug?
No, it was. I mean, I keep giving her credit, boy, because she's a big part of that show, especially with Jeff Hoffman going down with his injury. But Megan came up with the idea to move the stage back to the front stretch. And we're going to go back to video replay. We have 2 beautiful LED screens, and one facing the back and one facing the front, and that just worked amazing. So we can go back to the traditional stage on the front and show everything on the big screen, so everyone could see what's going on.
And I thought that was really well done. And Doug, I had a chance to work with the guys on DTD TV, which was a lot of fun. And I meant it when I said it then. Oh, Super Dirt Week without a rain delay isn't Super Dirt Week. You don't get the chance to socialize, take a breath, and meet new friends, have conversations. Like, that week is designed for a couple of slowdowns. It's up to you to figure out the schedule, and it goes really well. But those rain delays are where friendships are made, probably where a few babies have been created. Who knows? Lots of great things happen.
I might know a couple of those. Not mine, but I do know a couple of them. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we need to at least have one, and the good part is we only had the one. I mean, we got majority of Friday in. We just carried it over to Saturday. And again, we caught right back up the schedule. With the flow going, every driver was happy with it. We instituted a text chat line that we had. So we were using it all week, letting everybody know what was going on, lineups, and everyone was raving about it. So, I mean, kudos to the drivers and the crews to having everybody ready to go. We never really had a delay and had to wait for anyone.
Clint, can we show that Salem video while we've got Doug here? And in fact, first, but before we do that, let's stick with this Bubba and Kyle Larson. Doug, if that happened at Oshwegan Speedway on the front straightaway with 2 of our drivers, How would that be handled at our home track?
Well, I hope we'd sell a lot more tickets for the following week. I mean, obviously there'd be suspensions. I mean, I think NASCAR is a have at it, boys. We don't tolerate physical violence. So there would be probably more penalties than just a 1 week suspension on it. But I mean, I say racing's like wrestling; it sells. I mean, and people are gonna buy tickets to find out what's gonna happen with the 45 and the 5 next week. I mean, in 2 weeks if he's got a suspension. But I mean, everyone wants to see what kind of payback's gonna happen.
For sure.
Let's look at that Salem wreck. Spencer, roll that one.
So up to this point, it's just a normal accident.
Oh my god.
This is the part that blows my mind.
Oh my god.
How do you stop
Can
it,
you
though, Adam?
And I'm not saying, can you identify who the first Speedway official is to get anywhere near the scene?
Oh, he's okay. He's okay. Oh.
Holy shit.
It looks like a car's
now-
been left out there for years.
Yes. As crazy as this is, look at the roll cage. That car, the important part of that car, the fuel cell, the roll cage, it did most of the job that it's designed to do. There was a couple of things I noticed with the tin kit that was a little invasive, like into the driver's area. But that's a great example of a car doing what it's supposed to do. But Doug, have you ever seen something like that? Forget about the crash. I mean, all the people running across a racetrack.
Oh, I mean, I saw both grandmas, both grandpas. I mean, that guy must show up to the races with 2 school buses of family members. Yeah, I was more the fence. Why is the fence not at the wall? That's the scary part to me. But the only way you can enforce that is if you had all the track staff at the end of pit road, or if they were the first ones on the scene to be at the wall to shoo everyone away. I mean, Clint and I, we recite it in the drivers' meetings that when the red flag comes out, get them stopped and let our safety team go to work. We feel we have one of the best in the business at Oswego Speedway. They are all trained professionals. Most of them do it for their day-to-day job. If you're in the way, it's only going to hurt your competitors. So, I mean, I don't know what message was delivered from the track to those crew members and family members and all that stuff, but everyone gets there and thinks they can be a hero and put their 2 cents in and to help out when they're just really in the way of the safety team.
Clint, you made a great point to me today if you want to repeat it.
Which one was that? It doesn't happen too often that you agree with me. Oh, I think I know what I was talking. I was saying, at the tracks we've been around, they trust our crew enough that I don't think everybody's first reaction would be that to go sprinting off into the bush. They'd at least hang back and let our crew try and get to the scene, figure out what's up. And I think that's, to me, just seeing everybody run like that is a culture of not trusting your crew, and it starts there. But even play that video again, Spencer, even just the layout of that situation, I don't know how you'd stop it. Once you have one crazy cowboy run up across the track, you're going to have 50, and there's no way of stopping it. What shocks me is, does everybody know we're under red before everybody starts rolling up across the track on foot? Like, they just are coming down the back straightaway. You could have a bunch of cars come ripping into this scene and not know it, and then
so it'd be ugly. It'd be horrible. But when you said that today, it really hit home. And I think you're absolutely right. And this goes for most of the tracks in our area. We're fortunate to be in an area where there's a lot of responsibility. Whether it's a track that was run by the Bicknells, Terry Vince has been around, John Caselli and his team, they've been around. Every track, we have a pretty responsible group of people that know how to run a place. There's places with room for improvement, but by and large, And I should share this. I was at the Vintage Modified meeting a couple of weeks ago where they elected a new committee. Mike Pod was there. Climbed out of his car, walked up into the building at Flamborough to have the vote. He's got a lot of hardware in him. Of course, for those who don't know, Mike Pod was hit by a race car at Flamborough Speedway, thrown through the air. As ironic as it is, hit the ambulance. And he had nothing but great things to say with the professionalism of the safety team at Flamborough Speedway that got him prepared to be transported down to Hamilton, where he had surgery, and he's expecting a full recovery.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at it, at Oswego, we're lucky to have Pat Quinn and Race Med and his team. At Flamborough, I mean, it's Kevin Best and his team. I mean, they work the Honda Indy. So the local tracks to us have probably two of the best teams going on. So, but we learn. I mean, it started probably with Dale Earnhardt passing away at Daytona. I mean, the safety, how much has evolved. Unfortunately, we had the incident with Jason Myers. I know the World Outlaws are looking at a traveling safety team. I mean, unfortunately, it takes something to happen for the change. But I know in our area, they actually started with Ken Palke. He was down in Florida, and a car caught on fire, and it was a photographer that pulled the driver out. He said from that moment on, we were going to have the best safety team going, and it's been there ever since. I mean, Clinton's carried it on. I mean, when you two ran it, same thing. So,
well, they spread out now, right? Merrittville, Humberstone, we all share the same crew, and Pat and the boys and girls have done an amazing job, and it certainly makes us all feel better when we've got to have our family racing at these events. You know, we feel better. A couple more situations, Doug, we want to bring you up on. Here's something that I saw that I would freaking love to see. I don't know if I freaking love to want to promote it, though. Show the Burger Barn video of the week, Spencer. This is 4 wide Spectator one-on-one races, and frick yeah, we need to do this. If we're going to go do it, if we're going to redneck, boy, we're going to paint those necks super red. Show it, Spencer, if you got it. Or not.
The suspense. I love a bit of suspense. There's nothing better.
We set it up.
The build up.
He checked that he had it. So, anyways,
I haven't heard him in my ear. Is he even there?
Yeah, maybe Spencer.
We haven't heard him in ages.
Yeah, we got a knock.
All right.
He's on work to rule for the off season. We'll get to that video. Well, not only is it pretty cool, Clint, to see them 4 wide, but when we do get a chance to watch how hard they race each other, it was something pretty cool to see.
What are they doing? In their own street vehicles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see if Spencer's there and send a message. You there, bro?
You can do it, Clint, but I'll be at Super Dirt that week.
No, I think this is going to need to be race directed and officiated properly.
No.
Okay,
here we go.
In their own street cars. 4 wide.
And where is this? At Seekonk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going hard at it. This little Blazer's drifting the whole way around.
I'm going to throw in a bit of an opinion here, Clinton. Do it and stage it. Put 4 people out there that'll go to town and put on a show. Some of the one-on-one races have gotten so lame because like someone goes out and dominates and just spanks the field, and there's just no flavor to it. I want to see people go out like this and put on a show.
Well, Doug, first off, what are your thoughts on a 4 wide Spectator one-on-one race? Basically, bring your cars to the race.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd have to pick 4 of the best, but I think you'd have to put some big dollars on the line for them to be half crazy to go wreck their own street vehicles. I don't think you stage it. It'll never work out the way you want it staged. But if you put some big coin up there, and you get guys like a Dylan Sharp and a Rodney Rutherford, I mean, 2 crazy guys like that, and add in 2 other ones, it'll be Max Chichuk. When people come to mind, grab one, a 4th one, it'd be a hell of a show.
You can't fabricate a party. Just like you can't stage a Spectator one-on-one race.
Right.
You put a few ingredients out there to make it work, but you can't just brew it up. So I would say, while we got you guys here, let's talk about this. So people say, why don't we have ladies races? Why don't we have mechanics races? Why don't we have more spectator one-on-one races? Well, I'll tell you why, as a promoter, why I'm not a fan of them anymore. We tried spectator one-on-one races at our weekend. It ended up being half the safety team versus half the push crew, and two real guys from the outside that actually wanted to do this thing. So scrapped again. That wasn't the spirit of the night, so that one gets pushed aside. We used to do mechanics races, and all you have guys like, well, let's drop some names. Back in the day, why I was bummed, because I never had experience. I got offered a street stock ride. Well, now I'm racing in a mechanics race against George Bossy, who's driving his son Michael Bossy's car, and Billy Bleach
Right.
Sr., who's driving Billy Jr.'s car. Well, these are modified drivers who jump into their kids' cars to have fun. I'm all about a pure amateur first timer race. But how do you filter out all the cheating bullshit? Or, same reason, do we really need a ladies race when we have talented drivers like a Noel Teal, like a Holly Porter, like a Gabby Darling? The list goes on and on. We don't need special races for girls anymore. So,
Listen,
I don't know.
I told you what I would rather. It doesn't have to be racing. Like the shows you put on at intermission don't have to be cars in circles. Clint, I gave you an idea. I said I will gladly put on the Great Big Bubble or the sumo suit and stand in Victory Lane, and whoever can knock me out of Victory Lane gets a box of donuts or something. Doug,
I would take you on that bet. I will take you on.
Put Doug Leonard and me at either end of Victory Lane and put like a box of donuts on like a ladder match in the middle in sumo suits.
I've seen you struggle going up to that tower. I know your weakness.
How does this fit in with your weight loss with Fun Slinger? You know, that you're...
Yeah, how is that going? He texted me tonight, but thought I was
we
mad.
haven't really we haven't officially launched it yet, Clint. We got to bring that up next week and do the official launch. We had the weigh-in. We've got some pictures from the weigh-in, and we do want to tie it in with some fun stuff that we want to do next year. And Doug, I know you'll get involved and Clint will get involved. It's got everything to do with bringing new groups to the Speedway every Friday night and have a section just for the goodwill. We've got to figure out a plan and figure out something.
They say the best time to weigh in is when you first wake up in the morning naked. There's no way I want pictures of you two weighing in.
But
so we'll have a sleepover.
I don't even want to hear the story.
Pictures.
I don't even want to hear the story.
You can officiate.
A good plan. So let's go back to our segment called Cooking in the Pits. So we have an option for these guys, Doug. You know how Adam had special meals brought up to the tower on Friday nights?
Yeah.
Now we got him set up with a Thursday meal after micro sprints. He's going to come for dinner. Show the clip on what we're going to serve up Adam after go-karts on Thursday nights. It's all protein, freshly cooked, piece of steak, and a few laps around. Nice medium rare, and we're ready to go.
I think it's awful what they did to that poor steak.
All of us have eaten worse than that on the road.
Right. I watched that video today, and I love Harper. She's so innocent. Unfortunately, she hasn't been feeling well the last couple of days, but she came in over my shoulder at that time, and she goes, "Dad, do they always do that on every race car?" I mean, I had to chuckle. It was sweet and innocent. She was totally clueless to it, but I had to instruct her that no, it was just for fun.
I wouldn't complain about some push truck baked potatoes at the end of a Friday night at Ush Weekend with our cold beer and some butter. I mean, if the push-off crew wants to cook us up some baked potatoes in the oven, I'd be happy with that.
Some good old New York salt potatoes.
Yeah, and actually some of the best meal I had this summer was on the little G-Force barbecue while we were cleaning up. A couple nights we had hot dogs, and they were fabulous late at night.
This summer, because I retired this year. Is that why? I wasn't the cook anymore, so you learned to enjoy it?
No, we just had it kicking around, and I'm like, well, we got hot dogs. You guys want them? And sure enough, of course, Spencer would never turn down a hot dog. So
imagine this. The menu at Super Dirt Week, the infield pit shack concession, where, a Hoffman hot dog is a special thing. But normal concession food, burgers, dogs, fries. How about a fish sandwich or fried clams? So Of course, I tried the fried clams. I go over to talk to Mike Mahaney before his race. Hey, you want to try some? No, that's a little dangerous for me. The fish wasn't.
That's what they were serving?
Yeah. That little, yeah.
See,
it was good.
We were catered in the tower. I mean, it was good, but I think maybe I want some infield food.
My clan talks about a restaurant they had somewhere in Sauble while we were setting up, and they had wings, but they were cooked in the same oil as the fish, you could tell. So they were like fish wings. So that's an ongoing joke at our house. So that would scare the shit out of me to get any fries from anywhere like that. I don't know. We really like. Is it all gonna taste the same or whatever? But what's the wildest food you've seen out on the road, Doug? You've been around. We've seen some pretty wild spots when we did the Dirt Week tour. I'm trying to think.
I mean, I think the best one is down in Charlotte. Get the big turkey leg. I mean, the thing is huge. It's about half my arm. Is that something you
would eat? Like, is that something you're like, I'm getting the turkey leg?
No, because I'd start on Wednesday and probably finish it on Sunday. Like, it's massive. That one sticks out.
Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that then. What is some food you'd like to get, Doug? Like, what's a place you're like, I can't wait to get there because I'm going to have that for dinner?
Ooh. I mean, I think
for me, it was a Flamburger for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, good.
If I know it's going on a Saturday, but
a couple of tracks have the pizza logs. Certainly Ransomville. I mean, pizza logs are really good.
I still can't
salt
stand
potatoes.
Pizza logs.
You can't stand
salt potatoes. I can't stand the drama we went through with pizza logs 20 years ago. to this day, it still pisses me off.
That turns you off?
Yep.
I don't mind.
Yeah, but you're mixing food with personal and business. Like, no, it's just about food in your tummy.
Yeah, fair enough. I love salt potatoes. I mean,
yes,
so bad for you and so fantastic.
The grinder at the Valley is really good. The grinder is a great sandwich. It's basically ground sausage. It's got some spice. Howie knows how to do it. I mean, he's all about get people in and sell them food. And the grinder sandwich is delicious.
So Adam retired from cooking for the G-Force crew. Like in 2021, we ate like a king's. Like he was bringing coils of Italian sausage and salads, and man, we lived it up. Well, this year he defaulted and started showing up.
We had to make sacrifices to get good mood, Adam. I was under strict orders this year to don't be a dick. So the best way for me.
So when are you going to change?
Yeah, we still went hungry and he was still a dick.
So that starts Clint when his weigh-in starts and his weight loss.
No. I was on my best behavior this year, but it was in all of our best interest for me to not be there for as many hours a day as I had been before. The little too much togetherness, too many opinions all in one place didn't create the best atmosphere, but it created great sausage.
I was hungry this summer, but the attitude recipe works, so I'll take that trade-off. What I was going to say is, so a lot of places we would end up buying dinner for the crew. So a few times we send Adam a message, and he was awesome. I'll give you that. When we needed drinks or salads or whatever, he always showed up with whatever we needed. But I bought the crew burgers at one place, Doug, and they were dipped in gravy. So we all took our burgers out, and they were just soggy and sloppy gravy. I'm not even going to say where it is, but it's an ongoing joke here in the G-Force crew about gravy burgers. So if anybody offers you a gravy burger, you don't want it. I don't know.
So what's next, Doug? What's next for Doug Leonard?
I leave on Tuesday after Halloween, so November 1st to fly south, and we'll do the World Finals at Charlotte and Concord, North Carolina. So that'll kick off racing or finish off racing. So we're the luxury. It's actually there's a fourth day this year. So we'll arrive on the Tuesday, and then everything goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Super NASCAR Series is not racing the first day on the Wednesday, so we do the 3 days at the end of Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll come home Sunday later in the evening, stay down there for during the day just in case of rain out and whatnot, and then banquet season. So at the end of November, it's all wrapped up, and I'll be bored.
Exactly.
Never ends. Doug, so many things going on. We'll start to jump into rule meetings, and it never really. People ask us what do we do in the off season. Well, we try and make next season cooler than it was this season.
Yeah, I mean, you're always planning.
Let's our last thing we're going to jump into here, Doug. We're going to talk about the Port Royal Speed Showcase. We do have some things now. I realize that's the other team than you manage with, but two of the players that we're going to be discussing in this situation, you've seen race a lot. It seems to be the Stuart Friesen camp versus the Matt Shepard camp. Not too many of them are cross-pollinated across company lines, let's say. But, we've seen Stuart run great. We've seen Shepard have an amazing year. Your thoughts on, the races you've seen Matt Shepard win and the battle and the rivalry between Stuart and Matt?
I mean, both are utmost professionals. I mean, certainly a Canadian connection with Stewie, get the opportunity to, when we see each other, maybe touch base of things going on at home. Matt Shepard, though, wow. I mean, what a 2022 season he's had. I mean, I saw a post on Dirt Track Digest. Somebody had added up his money that he'd won, and that was before Super Dirt Weekend, Port Royal. I mean, already basically destined that he's going to win the Super Dirt Car Series Championship. I think the number's almost $700,000 when it's all said and done. I mean, I was having a discussion with somebody from World Racing Group head office, said, who can it rival? I mean, I think the only two people that maybe have won more money on dirt this year would be Davenport, who ended up winning the $1 million to win race at Eldora, and Chris Madden, who's won a couple of the XR races, I mean, big paying events. So what a phenomenal year. And you never count them out. I mean, even at Super Dirt Week, you don't want to be a fan, but you're watching, and you might be cheering on somebody like an underdog. Mark Johnson was doing amazing, and then boom, all of a sudden Shepard's there. I mean, and he'll ride your heart. He didn't even know he won at Albany Saratoga. I mean, took the lead with 5 to go, and he's all of a sudden they're waving the checker on him. He's like, wow, I didn't even know he won. So, hell of a professional.
It's crazy, and I think, prove me wrong, tell me I'm wrong, Matt Shepard and Stuart Friesen are the two best drivers in their prime to be rivals than at any other time in modified racing history. There has never been two better drivers at the same time anywhere they go.
I mean, I think back in the 80s, I mean, with Alan and Barefoot Bob and Danny, I mean, I think there was some rivalries there, especially at Land of Legends or Canandaigua Speedway. But right now in this current time, 100%. You know those two drivers are going to be almost locked in the top 5. And I mean, and we had a discussion on it. And Shane Andrews brought it up that I don't think Matt Shepard's finished out of second spot in Super Dirt Car Series heats. And we pay for heats. At one point he had a 100-point lead over Matt Williamson, and I think all of it was heat points. And he's on his game, and he knows what to do.
Think about this: the car he won Syracuse with had 11 races on it. 10 of the races were wins. One of the races was second place. Right. That's a profitable car. So Spencer, can you queue up Port Royal? We're just going to watch the end of the Port Royal Speed Showcase. 75 laps, $50,000 to win.
Down low. Here comes Matt Shepard.
So Friesen on the bottom here, Shepard working outside. Stewart drove through everybody, was leading this race till the end, and then Shepard just kind of came out at the end and put a good race on at the end.
Bangs the boards. He'll pound the cushion off the corner. Friesen, you've got company. Side by side, door to door down the backstretch. 50K on the line. Here they come. Friesen on the bottom and Shepard on the outside, drifting up the hill. Side by side out of the turn. Oh, Friesen. We got a slow car on the backstretch. And blocks him off. We're still moving. We're still green. Shepard high. Friesen low. Wheel-to-wheel combat. Shepard sweeping around the outside of Friesen to take the lead. Bob Hilbert, we are not done yet. yet. Battle for the win in the turns 3 and 4. Shepard, he's going to take the bottom out, but he washes up the hill. Here comes Stuart Friesen. Checker flag is out of winning. The speed showcase is going to be Superman. That's Shepard. Wow, are you kidding me? Congratulations.
I mean, just to watch those two.
But that was quite an emotional
I think when we did the tour as an announcer, Doug, out on the road with you, for me, it just seemed like Shepard was the closer. You know, around lap 30, around lap 40, around 50, you're not talking about that 9 at all. And then comes around lap 80, 90, 100, he's right there at the end and knows how to just roll into it, the finishes of these events. What a season for him. For anybody who thought modified racing might have been in trouble, as Doug said, you know, not too many other guys on dirt racing won more money. You can be a professional racer, as these guys showed, along with a few of the other ones out there, including guys like Matt Williamson and those guys we know who have pretty much become professional pilots now who are getting it done, which is a great deal for our sport. I don't know. We're getting down there. We got a few minutes left. We were going to talk about NASCAR wet weather. They're talking about going into that. Well, I got you guys here before we get too much further and before I forget, I want to mention the Gary Clute podcast. I know I mentioned to you, Adam, today. I got hooked into that. Gary Clute's got a great deal. Check it out on wherever you watch podcasts. I found it on YouTube myself. I'm going to try Gary. We need to get Gary here on the show. But he's had some great guests, most recently Paul Tracy. But the one that got me was Alex Tagliani. I learned a lot about Alex and his attitude and the way he puts himself together. And if you're a fan of the NASCAR Pinty Series, which a lot of us are around here, certainly gave me a new thought to the way Alex carries himself. I was kind of reminded and shocked to be reminded how close he was to the Alex Zanardi situation. I mean, he was in that accident with Alex Zanardi that cost Alex Zanardi his legs, and he talks about that. He was also kind of sort of lost his ride at the last minute to give Dan Weldon an opportunity at Vegas, and Weldon ended up dying in that car. So there was so much close, you know, he's so close to these major IndyCar situations, and you don't realize that. We kind of take for granted the experiences Alex Tagliani had, at least I had. The other one that I found really interesting was when he was talking about the one time when they actually got together and were going to cancel a race at California, or it was Texas or California, I'm not sure, but they were going 260 miles an hour, and they were pulling like 6 Gs laterally and the other way, and drivers were about to pass out, and they were all kind of like G-locked in the brain, and they were all messed up when they got out of the car, and finally they got together and said, we can't race. So if you get a minute, check it out. We got to get Gary on to talk about these experiences of talking to these drivers. Paul Tracy talks about his early career too. So send another shout out. We always like to share the love among our other fellow broadcasters, and the Gary Clute one's one that's sucked me in. It's been my marathon this week, so check it out. NASCAR wet weather, Adam. We see this sometimes. It would seem like every year the NASCAR Pinty Series and a lot of places get plagued by rain. Somehow the races get in, but we seem delayed. This was a story that came out. Show it, Spencer. It's a headline that came out in Road and Track where they said NASCAR will introduce a wet weather package for short ovals as rain has long canceled or delayed NASCAR races on ovals. That may change in the next year with a new rain package. Adam, your thoughts on this?
So I'm going to talk out my ass here. I've got two trains of thought. Yes. My one train of thought is we race for the fans. We put on shows for the fans. Even though it's sold as a TV package, billions of dollars, and that's what feeds the sport, ultimately, if you are doing a disservice to the fans in the grandstand, then you are doing a disservice to your sport. I believe, or I would question, putting an oval track race in the rain, is it disrespecting the fans that have come out because it's going to be a miserable experience? In my next breath, I'd remind you that the CNE, which raced super modifieds in Toronto, raced rain or shine. You can run a super modified in the rain. Yeah. Bill Burwin has only raced there in the rain. So I'm of both sides. It bothers me to think that they've come up with a solution only because they're contractually obligated to put on these races. Is it in the interest of putting on the best show, or is it in the interest of fulfilling a contractual obligation that doesn't take into account your spectators?
I look at it a bit of a different way. I think we've been cultured on the short tracks to say if it rains, we're out and the day is done. On the road courses and some of these other disciplines like Formula One, the race goes on. We do it on the road courses. So, and I would even suggest that some of the road courses we race in the rain are a hell of a lot more dangerous than letting these guys go on a short track like even Delaware, for example. The level of excitement, sure, we don't want to sit through a shitty rain situation, but if you know it's rain or shine and you come prepared, I bet we'd have a hell of a show and a bit of drizzle out there with a lot of these short track races we go to, and we could see it come around more like a dirt track like some of us like. I think it, if you know going in and you buy your ticket, I'm all for it. I think it could be good. Obviously, NASCAR and the promoters are going to have their situation. If it's thunder, lightning, obviously those are still going to preclude them from having these events. But I think it could bring a level of excitement. Doug, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess see both sides. That's an interesting point that you bring up, Clint. I mean, I guess if you come prepared, why not? I mean, I was siding with Clint there early because it is for the fans. But you look at the business side of it, and it is all those TV contracts.
Well,
I don't
look
know
at
how
a Tie
excited.
Cat game.
I don't know how excited the racing would be, but
You're going to go to a football game, Tie Cat, Bills, whatever your deal is. You're going rain, snow, sleet, whatever. You're going to have to ride it out.
Yeah, we're only speculating. I can't tell you that a race in the rain on an oval would be boring to watch. I certainly don't think there's a safety component to it, Clinton, because the speeds would be so much lower and the cars would be sliding so much more. I think you'd be safer in the rain than you are on a dry racetrack. To me, it comes down to the entertainment value of it. But again, it's a fun debate. It's one that I think we could bring up later in the off season. Let's chew on this for a few months, think about it, and obviously you couldn't do it on a dirt track. Let's all agree. Let's find a point we can agree on. It's not going to happen on a packed down.
But maybe that's how they're looking at it. With all the dirt racing that they brought in, they think their drivers would be accustomed to the sliding around. So,
hey, if you take some single or two lane racing like we have at some of these short tracks, and it turns into a weekend style NPS racing like we saw at the dirt race this summer, where they're 3 and 4 wide and all guys trying to find different handling lanes, I'm all for it. So a good discussion to live on. On that note, we're about to wrap things up. Anything else you want to say, Doug? We appreciate you being here and chewing the fat with us today.
yeah, no, obviously I want to give my condolences to the Teal family. Great tribute that you guys did. Heartbreaking news when we woke up Sunday morning to hear. I'm on your side. That's how I know Noel is. Obviously by her big smile and always beaming ear to ear. But Harper always would come to me and say, "Dad, why does that girl wear no shoes? And how does she walk on all those big rocks in her bare feet?"
I know,
I'm
right?
like, well, she's just crazy in that, but always loved doing it. She's certainly going to be missed by all.
Yeah, well said, Doug. Thanks for joining with us.
No problem. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. As again, our hearts go out to the Teal family. We're gonna leave you with that tribute video of Noel one more time. If we get any information, we'll let you know. The one thing the family has asked for, if you go on their social media, you can look up Noel or the Teal family. They have a Dropbox out. If you have any pictures, photos, or memories of Noel, they'd like you to share them with them, and that'd be greatly appreciated. On behalf of all of us, our heart goes out to the Teals and all her friends and family. And on that note, we'll leave you with our Noel Teal tribute video. Thanks for joining with us. Thanks, Spencer, for putting this together. And once again, we'll see you soon.